at Pocono. I would like to welcome the winner of the last Giggity Racing League Coke 600, Mr. Habab. How are you doing tonight, good sir?
I'm doing fairly well, and I'm really excited to be up here in the booth for this one. It's going to be a good race.
It's always fun to watch you race, and we'll be able to pick your mind and your thoughts, your opinion, and your strategy since you've raced with these guys. So thanks for being up here, man.
Oh, no
Tonight
problem.
we'll be doing 50%, 2 times wear, presets with stages, cautions, and damage. Going with that mindset, Habab, what would your strategy be going into? Let's talk that right there. You know, what would your strategy knowing that you got presets and stages?
Well, with the presets, it kind of evens everybody out to the people that aren't as good building setups. With that being said, though, there's only so much you can really do with the cars with the presets, so it comes down to mostly strategy, like you said, with the strategy piece. We're here at the Tricky Triangle. You know, there's a lot of, you can downshift going into the tunnel turn. You can possibly save some fuel there. Just a lot of different possibilities you can really do.
And as we all know, like you just brought up to the point, Tricky Triangle. As we can watch, it says what turn 4. Each one of these turns is based off of 3 banked turns tracks. Each entry, like you said, some people downshift, some people don't. Do you think downshifting will burn more fuel mileage?
Yep, because you are, bringing those RPMs back up when you're shifting from 3rd gear to 4th gear. Some people swear by it, some people don't even bother with it, and it's kind of a thing that it's all preference.
Would that be a strategy that somebody would use to conserve? Would be to not shift, but let's say they want to get around somebody, or get a good drive off a corner with the downshift? Would that be could we see that come into play tonight, Bob?
Yeah, possibly, yeah. If you want to get by somebody they're really in your way, maybe hitting that downshift, you can get right around them.
Well, we're definitely in for another great race. There is no bad racing in Giggity Racing. Every driver in Development 2 Cup was fantastic, including yourself, Bob. And like I said the other night as a hot seat driver, congratulations once to you. That was a long, grueling race. You manned it out, so congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
And like I said, I can't wait to have you in the booth with us tonight.
Yep, it's going to be a fun night.
Pocono, that's one of those fun tracks too. It's one of those unique setups with that long monster straightaway. And then, where do you think everybody's going to have a different breaking point, or are they going to have the pretty same breaking point? What lines do you think will come into play? Do you think they'll run the low line? Do you think they'll run that medium line? The high line here is not as much prevalent like at Kansas or other tracks, but...
Yeah, going into turn 1, I think everybody's going to have a pretty similar breaking point. Kind of diving into the corner, trying to diamond it off a little bit, get down to that bottom is the one that I always like. And I don't know, but there are people who make it work and go a little higher and get that little bit of a run off the corner. And it's all personal preference. Now, going into the tunnel turn, I feel like every league that I've ever raced in, everybody has a different breaking point for that turn. Some people can push it in really deep and drive it off the corner and somehow just come an inch away from hitting that wall coming off the tunnel turn. Personally, me, I like to get off the gas a little early, let it coast through there, let the car settle down on that bottom, as you are going to be upsetting the car going over that little bump for the tunnel, and just drive it up off the corner. But I mean, turn 3 is kind of that money corner. Right where that safer barrier kind of comes out is where I let off the gas and I dive it right down to that bottom. And I know in these past couple of years with the new aero packages, the cars, you can run up a little higher in turn 3, and you can get a little bit of speed off that going on to the front stretch. So it's going to be interesting.
No, that's a great point I was going to bring up, Bob, and you already did. That the bump out for that safer barrier going into turn 3, if you got a car to your inside, you're not going to be able to duck down as soon as what you would hope. You're going to have to hope that they either let off or you're going to have to let off, because if you both go into that turn at the same time, if you're on the outside, you're going to bump off that safer barrier and upset the car, if not cause a good amount of damage. So again, there's strategy there too, and with the way the Giggity Racing League plays out with the caliber of drivers we have, it's nothing less short than bumper-to-bumper racing at all times. So let's see how a lot of these drivers pull that off. Good call.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, so they just finished up qualifying. I'm waiting to get a order for you guys here.
Awesome. Mr. Bob will be on the computer tonight. I will just be assisting him as normal. And thank you to K-Taddy and everybody in the Giggity Racing League for allowing me to come back and have the privilege of calling another great race with you guys. It's awesome to be able to do this.
Oh, definitely.
Did anybody catch the race today that's out there watching on Habab's viewing stream? What thoughts of that? Strategies played out at ISM with Denny Hamlin winning, 3 Joe Gibbs cars to the final, with 1 Ford Mustang being the Stuart Haas of Kevin Harvick. What are your guys' thoughts? Who do you think is going to pull this out? Do you think Denny can get his first one, or can anybody else, duplicate it over and over again?
I know me personally, I'm a Blaney fan, so I was kind of upset to see Blaney. Got a really good finish, but I was hoping to see him in the championship 4. He definitely has the talent to do it.
Being an Ohio boy, being that the Blaneys are from Ohio, being that I've been on the same racetrack with Dave and Dale, not in a sprint car. They were there racing sprint cars while I was in a modified. You're kind of biased, so yeah. I would have loved to see Blaney get there, and you can't say that he didn't make one heck of a run. With this being said, I'm also a Chevrolet guy, and it's a little disappointing not to see any Chevys up there. But I think Joe Gibbs winning more than 50% of the races this year, and being a prior Tony Stewart fan, or not prior, but still a Tony Stewart fan, just not a fan that he's driving the Ford, I think I'm going to have to pull for Mr. Harvick next week to... it's 1 on 3. 1 on 3. And this been a factor. I think Harvick actually has the teammates can help him, where the other 3 teammates, he's got Eric Jones, but the other ones are going to be competing for that championship. So let's see how teammate play comes into that. It's going to be crazy next couple weeks. It's going to be good racing, though.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I wouldn't have thought of that. That's actually, yeah. All right, you can accept the invite. Sorry to cut you off.
Okay. There we go. Mr. Bob, will you hit me up with one real quick?
1 second. I'm loading into the... I'll have to back out of the broadcast thing real quick.
Once again, we'd like to thank everybody at the Giggity Racing League. Options. They are always looking for developmental drivers. You start off, you one out, so
right,
like a good friend of mine, Mr. Warpig, he got the invite from development and worked his way up the trucks already. So Giggity Racing League, if you want to know how, please contact Mr. Habab Puddin or K-Taddy to get in touch with anybody, and we can get you going. K-Taddy is a well-known administrator at the Giggity Racing League that can help you set you up.
All right. I sent you an invite. Did you get it?
Yep, Tim 4, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And
oh. Go ahead.
I was just saying, coming off, you can already see Noko's up in the lead with Buck and the 19 car of Infu chasing him down.
Buck, Noko, They have been dominant forces up front. Enfu, always looking good. Now, it looks like Buck wants to throw me a curveball tonight by changing from the monster paint scheme, but it won't be hard to distinguish that he's a dominant force up front. How well was that for you? You told me earlier in pre-race that Noko gave you compliments on your driving and your setup. How did that make you feel coming from such a great driver as they're going down the backstretch here, or front stretch here?
It really gave me a big boost in my confidence. I was really down on myself at that point in time, and just coming from somebody who's so dominant in the series and builds good cars and good setups and helps us out as a team every week, it just gave me a huge confidence boost. It made me feel a lot better, and it ultimately pushed me to winning the race.
That's what's awesome about Gator Racing League. It's not, car gets loose coming off the wall right there. It's that Gator Racing League, it's not independent. It's not me versus you. It's a team environment. You're having trouble, I'll help you out. You're having trouble, I need help, and you get it in return. That's what's awesome about the Gator Racing League. Plus the competitiveness, as the cars are getting loose coming off that corner right there too. And it's great to see Buck up front. Buck and the 19 car, 19 of...
Ooh, and Noko getting a little loose coming off turn 3 there.
It's very unrare for him to make a mistake, but it's still way early in this race. Yes, it is a 50% race, times 2 aware, but it's Pocono. Long race, a lot of time. Enfu in the 19 car, he was very strong, and he was being a dominant force at Chicago too. I mean, at Charlotte, excuse me, folks, earlier too, So I think these two are going to know that it's a 50% race. Patience is still a virtue, as you were well a testament to, but they want to go out, they want to show their dominance. They want to show Noko, hey, we're here, we can win too.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You got somebody who's been dominating the series like that, you really want to stick it to them. You want to show them that you're there and you are somebody else who can win, and you want to show them that early. As they have right now, they're fighting it out, and Noko's kind of just sitting back, chilling, watching the show.
And as we received earlier, we're going to run down the points standings real quick. Looks like Trout's up front, Wicked number 2, and Spitty number 3, and Mills number 4, Checkmate's number 5, the Sphinxer's number 6, RKM 7, we got K Larson in 8, K-Mac in 9th, Buck is in 10th, so a good run, good finish would definitely help Buck in the points being in 10th. K-Taddy in at 20 is in 11th, Fluffy's in 12th, Wicked Plant's 13th, NRJ is in 14th, D. Smith, he always impresses me with a beautiful paint scheme every time in that 43, sitting in 15th. We got Tommy 16th, Enfu in 17th, Ice, Titans, and Noko, which is a little rare to see him back in points, but because it's a different situation, it won't be hard for him to make it up there tonight. What do you think there, Bob?
Yeah, you got some close points battles going on. Trout's kind of ahead a little bit, but he's got 4 playoff points. You look down at Smitty, he's got 5. So getting some playoff points tonight for Trout will be important, just to get ahead for when they reset the points in the playoffs.
Looks like Noko just made a inside move on Buck, but Buck gave him the old slider right back. So we've got hardcore competition up front as who's leading this race. 62 of Buck and number 1 of Noko sitting out there. We got 37 of Trout, always looking good, always looking strong. Your points leader. We got another Cold Trickle duplicate car tonight. That's a 24. 24. Excuse me, folk, of RJ Smitty. He never ceases to impress me with his paint schemes also. There's so many opportunities. Oh, big wreck, car flying, 42 in the air. Noko's involved, Jay Smitty's involved, flying through the air, big wreck, 12 involved. I didn't on there. Did you catch anything, Bob?
I did not catch what happened. I caught the aftermath of it, but it looks like, yeah, like you said, we got Noko, Smitty, Checkmate's involved, the RKM got involved in that at the end.
And with stages, caution, and damage, this could come into play if you weren't happy with the way your car was handling, being that tonight is on preset. Bob, what would you go in and do to try to either get track position, or would you try to go in and get your car to handle better for that third stage?
At this point in the race, it's the first caution. I'd probably put 4 tires on it, get all my adjustments in where it is preset. Just get, fields reset. Everybody's got their cars all set up and dialed in, hopefully. And I'd go from there. It's a fresh start, almost like a restart of the race. For now, everybody's got their setups in and everything. So
Definitely, that Cold Trickle car, he kind of went flying through the air a little bit, but like you said, great drivers in the back working their way back to the front. Fresh setups now. This could be a good battle here. Being early in the stage, now's a good chance to make some adjustments. If you don't like it, you can adjust it later on, since that was a caution flag.
definitely, it looks like that Highline isn't that good on the restarts, but the 19 kind of stuck with it. Buck did make the pass on them, but they're all lined up pretty well on that Highline right there. The draft might come into play with pulling them out.
Pocono is always one of my favorite tracks to watch in real life, and it's even better when you get close racing of the Gaiety Racing League as they go 4 wide down the backstretch.
Ooh, and the 37 and the 9 into the wall off of the tunnel turn.
Good call, yes. Unfortunately, that's an unfortunate circumstance. But again, you can't get frustrated. You can't get mad. Main thing is don't go a lap down. It looks like they're going back under a caution now. Under stage racing, a lot of people get mad. Whether it be public lobbies or private lobbies, they get upset. Bob, you know firsthand also. In stage racing, it's okay. It's okay if you get wrecked. It's an unfortunate circumstance, but you can come back from that. It gives you a chance to go get, that's what I like to call 4 freshies. Go get 4 fresh Goodyears, full tank of gas, put some tape on, take some tape off, wedge in, wedge out, make those adjustments. It's not an unfortunate circumstance this early in the race.
Yeah, definitely. You can't let your frustrations take you over in here, and especially you don't want to try to ruin your race or ruin anybody else's race. It still is fairly early, so can't let your emotions get the better of you.
Again, this is the first time I've got to announce with Mr. Habab, and it's been an honor, especially speaking with a Giggity participant. It's awesome. Something I always like to say, Habab, I don't know if you heard me say it before, I know some of our viewers out there is too. You race the racetrack, not the racer. That's being from a personal aspect of being a racer in real life. So it's hard that you see a car in front of you, you want to dive in front of them, you want to go to the high side of them. Whatever the circumstance may be, as we see RJ Speedy getting a little low right there, you have to tell yourself, maintain your line. Don't follow the car in front of you. If they make a mistake, chances are you're going to make that same mistake by following them. Race the racetrack, not the racer.
Yeah, you got to race your race. You got to race for yourself ultimately. With that being said, you are racing for yourself, but you can't ruin somebody else's race in the process. And if you're patient enough and you follow behind them, eventually they will make a mistake, and you can capitalize off of that just by being there.
But I have done it in this game, and I have done it racing motorcycles, and I've done it racing stock cars. I was so gung-ho that I tried to make a quick pass on somebody, and because I got overzealous, over-anxious, and I overdrove the track, it ended up costing me in the long run. Noko doesn't seem to be one of those drivers. He seems to be patient, and he seems to make his way, and he snakes his way. He slithers through the pack when he has to, and it's not a surprise to see him back up front within 10-15 laps, depending upon the track, depending upon traffic situations.
Yeah, Noko's a guy who's really confident with what he's got. If he knows from practicing all week he's got a good setup, he's got a good car, he's not extremely, he's not in a hurry to get back up to the front of the pack if something happens, because he knows in the end when he needs to be there, he's going to be there. And yeah.
and this is a prime example. The 24 of RJ Smitty, he went flying through the air, and look who just took the lead. RJ Smitty in that Cold Trinity City Chevrolet car. He took a bad situation. Oh, we got a car into the wall, it looks like. He took a bad situation, battered himself, and now here he is pulling away from the four-car pack behind that are running in tandem. Bob? And it appears that RJ does that same move that I do. It's not illegal on this track. In that turn 2, you take that yellow turn, you duck down a little bit early, get on that gas, you get that drive coming off, and you barely come up against that wall. You just got to be careful of that safer bear that you brought up in pre-race.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll follow him around here for this lap, kind of watch his lines here to see what he's doing. It might be his pure speed of him pulling away, or maybe they're just fighting back there a little too hard, but let's follow him around, check his line out.
You can't race with people too hard. Like you said earlier, you want to defend yourself. You want your position. You want to maintain your status. But in the long run type of race, you have to tell yourself, is it worth it to gain that one spot, or can we suck in behind each other and just catch the driver in front of us? RJ's taking advantage of the tandem racing behind us, two wide racing.
Yep, and he's just got open track ahead of him, clean air. You know, the car is handled terribly in that dirty air. It's not fun back there. You know, you think you got a great car, you've been practicing all week, you got a good car, then you get in that dirty air, and then you're discouraged because your car just handles like crap. And but you got to stick it out. And he's probably grinning ear to ear right now. He's got a good car. He's got clean track in front of him. He's got a good couple second lead, and he's just watching those guys battle back there in his rearview mirror.
What would your strategy be on this? Going into a qualifying race, would you loosen your car up on a preset level to 6, 7, 8, get that hot lap in? You only need one for qualifying. Get that hot lap in, but would you dial it back to, 5, 6 possibly, depending upon for the race, knowing that the tire fall off and everything's going to happen to get the car to handle in the long run? What would you do in this situation?
Generally, in the beginning of the week, I get my race set up in, get comfortable with that, and then closer to the day when we're going to be racing, I get that, try to find a little more speed where it's a little more uncomfortable, but it's going to be a short race for the qualifying race. You just only have to hit 1 or 2 good laps. And so it doesn't matter how uncomfortable you are, dial it back, make it super loose, and you only have to hang on to it for 1 lap. You know what I mean? So ultimately, I'd probably, sometimes I'd go up a slider, maybe go to a 7. Like if I'm running a 6, go to a 7 or an 8. But sometimes I've been able to get away with, just staying on the same slider, but just making a big air adjustment, tire adjustment, run higher pressures that in the race in a long run would kill me because my tires are going to be wearing fast. But in a short race like that for qualifying, you only need a good lap. Doesn't matter how bad those tires wear because you only need a couple good laps and everything. So, that's how I go about things. Might differ.
I'm not far behind you on that, Bob. Sometimes, depending upon the track and depending upon my comfortability of the track, I'll go to the pits first lap on qualifications on the same slider that I'll race with. But I'll go in and raise the tire pressures, put some tape on, take wedge in, take wedge out, whatever I feel personally necessary to get that car. I just need 1 good lap. But in this race, you're looking at more than 1 lap. You're looking at 3 stages. So I agree. Get that car, make that hot lap run, put full tape on, run 60% air pressure, whatever it takes, get your good qualifying position. Then, when you're in your race situation, you get your race setup going on, maintain. That's another good thing. Throttle control at this track is a big issue. You don't want to get onto it. Some of these drivers, all these drivers know, but some people out there who may not know, going into turn 1, you stay off the throttle a lot longer on Pocono than what you should, or what you think you should, or how you feel. Everything's personally. But you want to stay out of that throttle a lot longer. Get that car to rotate. Get that car to turn. Dive in the corner, like you said. Arc it in, arc it off.
Yeah, and turn 1, that's a big turn. If you're messing up turn 1, you're not setting yourself up well for the tunnel turn and ultimately for the whole track. You're going to mess up your whole lap just because of turn 1. And people get a little jumpy, get on that gas way too early, and they're up into that wall, and then they're not carrying good enough speed going into the tunnel turn. And you got to really concentrate on that.
And you just hit the nail on the head. You have a great fast lap by how you hit certain turns. Watkins Glen, you want to hit turn 1, and you want to hit turn 8. The last one before that last left-hander. The bus stop also, you want to hit that great. But if you can hit those great, perfect. Pocono, if you can hit turn 1 and turn 2 perfect, you're going to have 160 plus mile an hour coming out of turn 2. That way you can get up to that wall, rotate the car, let out of the throttle, the car rotate, roll into that throttle, and you're going to have an amazing drive down a straightaway that's longer than Talladega.
Definitely, yeah. And then with that being said, it all is kind of a setup thing, and like you mentioned earlier, all 3 of the turns are different. Setting your car up for a specific turn might hurt you in one of those other turns. So you got to really for a turn where you need to get better and where you can give up some time, and where it just kind of comes down to skill for some turns. Like the tunnel turn, you know, you can, if you go in with a super loose car going through that tunnel turn, you get it set down on that bottom, like the yellow line, or let it go below like you like to do, and you get right back on that gas, the car's going to slide loose. You're going to come out, you're going to smack that wall whether you like it or not. So it's 50% setup really for that, and you got to pick like the corner that you are the worst at. Set your car up for that. So
this track, if I were to have to compare it, you can compare not Kentucky, but you can compare Chicago and Kansas, for example. You know what I'm saying? The closest track that you can compare this track to, in my opinion, is Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a fast track. You have 4 corners. They have a short straight in between them, and you have to hit all 4 of the corners perfect. There's no turns 2 and 3, or 3 or 4, 1 and 2, excuse me. So, and here comes Noko on the inside of RJ Smitty, stalking and praying. And so, if you can run Indianapolis well, they do have different bankings on these corners, Bob. If you can run that track well, you can run Pocono very well, even though there is different banking. It's the same kind of throttle response, throttle control concept and patience as Indianapolis, which this track can't say that. Neither can Indianapolis about many others out there.
Yeah, that was a good point. With all the corners being different and everything, it's kind of a flatter track for the most part, like a turn 3, and the tunnel turn doesn't have much banking, but it has more than you would assume. I would assume I would compare turn 3 maybe to New Hampshire with how flat it is.
Turn 2 to Indy.
Yeah, turn 2 Indy. Yeah, with the little short chutes in between the corners and everything. Yeah, it's with the differentiation in all the corners though. It's kind of, I don't know.
RJ Smitty is definitely giving Noko a battle. He's letting Noko say, hey, I am here. You want this spot? I don't care. We have half a straightaway on everybody behind us. I will fight you for this. RJ Smitty and Noko have a good battle going up front.
Oh, and it looks like we are under caution once more.
Whether it be a caution or a stage end, it's a great opportunity. Go in, get 4 freshies, get plenty of gas, and make that a long drive adjustment, Some people like to have a tighter car knowing it's going to loosen up. Some people like to have a tighter car or a looser car, but they'll tighten it up and then go vice versa. Every driver is different. Let's see how this all plays out.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, Noko kind of was battling back there and then kind of prevailed from that pack back there, and he caught up to Smitty, but I figured Noko might pass Smitty and, ultimately give a good distance in between one another and take out a lead, but Smitty stuck right there with him, so I'm excited. This is going to be a good battle up there.
This was a great point to prove that patience is virtue. Both Noko and Smitty and the 24N1 car were involved in a very, very not good situation, as we would call it, bad accident, early in stage 1. And look who's up front on your front row. You have pitch strategy. You have driving strategy. Everything is here. Oh, Noko gets a little loose coming off turn 2, it appears. He's coming down there right there.
Yep, and RJ Smitty's loving that. He's going to pull away. With Noko the only guy being able to pull up to, ooh, we got to wreck. The 42 goes around in the back.
K-Taddy comes up on the inside, makes it 3 wide. Same thing with Info in the 19 car. It doesn't appear that we have a caution yet. They took advantage of that situation. They both came through turn 2 very strong, very fast. RJ Smitty, like you said, he's grinning ear to ear right now. If I was him, I would definitely shut that mirror off and focus what's in front of me and not behind me.
Oh yeah, definitely hit your marks, Be happy that they're back there battling, but also you got to hit your marks, kind of concentrate on trying to pull away if possible.
It's hard to do that knowing the competition of the Gator Racing League that is behind you. You're in a cup car for a reason. It doesn't matter if it's a custom or preset. You're here for a reason. So you know the talent that is behind you. These all are great drivers.
Yeah, most definitely. We're one of the more talented leagues from what I've seen so far. But, yeah, every time you're in the league, you got somebody breathing down your neck. Somebody's going to pass you. They can make a pass because everybody's fast. Everybody's up there contending for that lead every single week.
So every opportunity that I do get to race with Giggity, just in practice leagues, being a broadcaster with you guys, just to race with you guys, it does nothing but improve my skill. You can learn from other people, and it's awesome to just, it doesn't matter if you're on a wheel, it doesn't matter if you're on a controller, just the skill level, the throttle control, everything that it takes, your lines, that's what's really important. You have to be consistent in any type of racing, whether it be drag racing, whether it be sprint car racing, whether it be motorcycle racing. You have to be consistent in whatever you do. And all of you drivers in Giggity Racing are super consistent, and that's what got you the win the other night. It's the 600 plus some strategy. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, coming from my real life experiences, run super late models at a short track near my house called Beach Ridge. Hitting my marks and everything, it's super important. That consistency, like you said. With a short track, it's a little easier, short, hit your marks every lap, try to be consistent, pick up time on the people behind you, or if you're battling side by side. It's where a little bit more of my aggressiveness comes into play, being a short track racer, knocking the bumpers off of it. But with these big tracks like this, hit your marks equally as important. So it can't be, everybody's consistent and everybody's just so good in this league. I've learned so much from NOCO and picking up, just following somebody around the track. I've learned more. Like at a track where I think, I'm good, but I got 16 other guys out there I'm competing with that are better than me. So you got to pick up on small things, follow somebody around the track, figure out what they're doing, like I mentioned before, or whether it be having somebody mentor you, like NOCO's been a big help. I'm a veteran of league racing, but there's a lot of stuff that I did not know that I learned from NOCO, and especially racing with Jake. I've been racing with Jake for a couple years now, that I learned from Jake, and it just made me such a better race car driver, not only in the game but in real life too. So a lot of learning experiences here, being in a good league with a lot of fast people.
That's awesome. Exactly. You learn from other people. Like you just said, you were a short track racer. You race cars. I race cars on and off. My forte was motorcycles. But for you, let's put this out for example. If I had a double header, a Friday, Saturday night, temperatures change, weather changes, track conditions change. So one night, Friday night, I might be able to maintain and say that black mark on the wall, that's my shut-off point before I slide the motorcycle in there on dirt. Mm-hmm. But then you go out for practice the next night, and everything's completely changed. Moisture, temperature, dew, water they put in the track, again, everything. So I might say, hey, look, this flagpole, or I see a bright orange shirt out of my peripheral in the grandstands. That might be a shut-up point, Every time it changes for you. When you get to a track and competitors like this, which is more consistent, what gives you that feel? Like, you have to do what makes you most comfortable. Am I disagreeing with you?
Yeah, I like to be in my comfort zone. Sometimes if it comes down to like winning, you have to go out of your comfort zone. But early in a race like this,
Were you on pavement?
Yes, it was pavement. So Beach Ridge is a small eighth of a mile oval. It's pavement.
Okay, so you and I both come from different backgrounds. Like I said, I've raced motorcycles and stock cars, modified and late models on dirt, mainly motorcycles on dirt. It's called flat track racing for you who don't know. It's like sprint cars. You broadside the bike going into the corner, and you put your left foot down. Each lap on dirt is different, but as it is on pavement, how much rubber is put down.
Yeah, the track changes,
the cushion pushes up. So every night's different. And that's what makes every driver here in the Giggity Racing League, as we watch Infu, NOCO, and R. Smitty battle it out for the lead. Again, every time everything comes out, and that's something I think is a great aspect for Heat 4. Everything changes, If you race from an afternoon race and transition it into a night race, you notice the track conditions differ, and that makes a great racer too. Not what's better for the other racers, but what's better for you and how you can accommodate it. You are your own worst enemy in racing.
Yeah, most definitely. With some other real life things that kind of come into play, like with I know in my background, there's multiple series that race at the track over the course of the weekend. So when you're practicing during the weekend, early in the weekend, and the track is really raw and there's no rubber down and everything, your car is going to be 110% different. when it comes down to race
Not to
time.
interrupt
How
you
it
real
handles
quick,
and everything.
Noko, as I'm watching this, Noko takes over the lead over RJ Spitty. Go ahead, I'm sorry, I'm just watching this battle up front. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, that's one of the real life things that doesn't come into play here. Even though the track does evolve and the transitions, the track evolves and the car feels different. Here with Pocono, it's an afternoon race. Starts around 1 o'clock where I'm from. The temperature is gonna either go down. Looks like it's like kind of like a cloudy, partly sunny day there. So the car's gonna handle pretty good. It's usually kind of warm there. Oh, we got the 24. Looks like he's diving down into pit road. Yep. So this might be a strategy
again,
play.
being at Pocono, you know where your strengths and you know where your weaknesses are. As Enthus giving Noko a run going into turn 1, going on the inside, pushes Noko a little bit high. You know where your strengths and weaknesses are. You know you might lose a little on turn 1, you can gain it on turn 2. Where would your strength be? Personally, I think turn 3 would be the ultimate strength. That's where you want that drive. If you're coming down to that black and white checkered flag, that's where you'd want your strongest drive to be, would be come off 3, so you can pass them. And the draft is effective here. But each person's different. If you can take the lead in turn 2 with a good drive and hold them off, what would your strategy be, Bob? Noko's looking pretty good as Enthus come back to the inside. Go ahead, Bob. Sorry.
I kind of feel like the penultimate corner here would be turn 2. Having a good car for the tunnel turn is good. But like you said, another good point. The best turn to be good at, I mean, at any track technically would be the final turn. Here it'd be turn 3 or turn 4 on a normal shaped track. Not poking any fun at Pocono or anything, but that turn coming out to win the race. You're leading to the start finish line to win the race. That's really important. So yeah, I would personally say maybe the tunnel turn might be my most important one. Other people might say turn 1. If you can get in front of somebody in turn 1 and you can just park the bus on the bottom and make the car 5 lines wide and block people, you might not be too happy, but ultimately you won yourself the race. But
that's great. I love that terminology. Park the bus. I call it the Jean Girard from Talladega Nights, where they say you make the car 5 lanes wide, and he can block people. But again, that's where everybody's different strategy comes in. On a short track, you want to get into the lead going into 1 and 2 and hold them off in 3 and 4. On a long track, maybe second place is the best place, and then draft and come on up, and then give them a turkey sandwich. Flying by him in the draft for the lead down the straightaway. Every scenario is different, every track's different, and it's great to see how everybody at Giggity Racing pulls everything off. As we see Buck up here competing now, Buck, Enthu, and Noko are fighting as they're going into turn 2, Bob.
Yeah, it's looking like a good battle. It's heating up. With the 24 diving down on the pit road, he might be trying to short pit the end of the stage here. I don't know exactly where we are in the race, but that coming into play. Yeah, we got 4 cars that I've seen so far in this race that are showing out as strong cars. We got the one in the 62 diving down on the pit road now.
I was just going to say Buck and Noko are diving down. It looks like we are making green flag pit stops. Sorry to interrupt you there, Noko.
Oh, no,
this is where strategy comes into play. Do you think Smitty is going to get his lap back? Pocono is one of those tracks where it's all right to pit, knowing that you may or may not, depending upon how fast your pit crew is and how your line is, you stand. So RJ Spinney might be coming out in the lead here. We don't know yet. This is a strategy at its best. Again, this is what the Giggity Racing League has to offer.
Yeah, and with pitting here, you can pit safely without losing a lap. You just got to be mindful of that gap to the leader. If you are, in the top 10 and you say you're within a good couple of seconds of one another, but if you're one of those cars in the back trying to make a strategy call to try to better yourself for the, not exactly the end of the stage, but for the end of the race.
I just saw RJ Spitty pull around. He went into turn 1 as Noko and Buck, who were your leaders on the 1 and 62. Noko's got half his backstretch on him. So this is that strategy coming into play, like you said. Maybe RJ Spitty played that ace card really well.
And not to cut you off here or anything, but it looks like the 37 might have gotten into the wall trying to get down pit road. He is on pit road now. It looks like the 42 also has some damage. I don't know if those damage correlate with one another.
Two of Mills, one of the other guys that I broadcast with. Mills is a great guy. Great to see him race, and I can't wait to call his race tonight. He appears to be on pit lane, You know. And then look at this. We got the RKM Giggity car back here. RKM is looking strong too in that Mustang. He's got a lot of strategy. There's Trout. Trout's your points leader, everybody. You know, he could be laying back, staying out of trouble, playing the caution game, playing the stage game. Again, with stages on, especially with preset racing, anything's up for grabs.
Yeah, and the playoff points are really, really important. Even in real life, you saw today, kind of playoff points came into a factor today. And where Trout has 4 playoff points, he's got a little bit of a small margin of points in between him and Wicked for second. But where he has 4 playoff points, if he just concentrates on, racing his race, Wicked, to try to catch up, might have to try to win a stage. And it'll come down to playoff time, and it's really gonna matter. It's gonna count.
And everybody has their own strategy. I'm one of those people who likes to think that the leader's going to pit within a lap or two, depending upon the track. So I'll dive in, grab 4 freshies and a bunch of gas, and make my adjustment, and then hope that I come out. There's other people who think, hey, you came in too early, I'm going to wear myself out a lap or two short, and then because you stayed out for that lap or two, you're going to make that distance up. Great strategy play by everybody. Great for RJ Smitty to get back up to the lead after he did after that first stage accident, and he's proven that he can be a competitor to that.
Yeah, definitely. He's got a fast car, so he's going to be up there regardless. But maybe this little strategy move here, trying to put himself ahead at the end of the stage, trying to get a little bit of stage points and try to stay up there with everybody, because when he's up there, he's fast, and that goes for all of them.
This might be a little cliche, but if you're driving the City Chevrolet car, you got Harry Hogg on the box giving you advice. So he never let anybody else wrong, right?
No.
I'm sorry for everybody out there who doesn't find my Days of Thunder commentary funny, but it's a great movie. Obviously, you got to bring a little bit into it when he is running the City Chevrolet car, though. K Taddy back here in the 20 car is looking very good, looking very strong, and he's maintaining his line very well, too. Okay, Mac in that 21, beautiful car. Love the numbers on that.
Yeah, it's a nice car. 21 happens to be my favorite number. I always been partial to it, but that is a very beautiful looking car.
Unfortunately, I picked my racing number up of 98, being that was the last on my American Motorcycle Association, the AMA. When they give you your racing license, it's tradition that you take the last 2 if it's the same as somebody else's last 3 numbers. Thankfully, I only had 2 numbers, so that's how I ended up with the 98. But everybody has their own superstitions when it comes to a number, and if you say you're not superstitious, I'm going to say baloney.
Yeah, definitely. I've always, like I said, I've always been partial to that number 21. I wasn't fortunate enough to get it when I raced in real life. I just helped my neighbor work on his car, and he noticed that I was a hard worker and gave me the opportunity to race his super late model a couple times last year, and he just happened to have the 78. So I just get what I was given.
It's very cool to see go with the flow back there. He is in the number 11 FedEx car. That is an old Dale Walsh. I normally always try to take not a bias pick, but just paint scheme pick. And I think tonight I'm going to have to go with the flow with that Darrell Walter paint scheme. If you got the broadcast, put a request out there and see what everybody says back. Who's their favorite paint, and what's their favorite number, and how do they get it for racing purposes?
Yeah, number 11. It is one of my favorite throwback schemes this year. There were some pretty cool ones. I know Bubba Wallace's paint scheme won they had a little vote for the best paint scheme, throwback paint scheme. But those Darrell Waltrip throwbacks are always really good looking. I did like Ricky Stenhouse had a Darrell Waltrip throwback. I believe it was last season, and it was a really good looking car.
Unfortunately, like I said, my wife and I, we travel from state to state every 13 weeks. We were in Florence, South Carolina. We were less than 10 minutes away from Darlington Raceway. We did go. We took a tour. We went to the museum. awesome, by the way. They have an original Hudson Hornet there if you ever get the chance. But unfortunately, she picked up a new contract, and we missed going to that race by 2 weeks. And obviously, not only is Darlington very historical, but to also see the throwback paint schemes, I was a little just to see what the go see everything in person this year. But it's okay. I got to see it on TV. Great racing, Darlington, Lady in Black. You can never have a disappointment there.
Yeah, it's always a wonderful race, and those throwback schemes make it a little more worth watching, more so than ever. Now that they officially made it the throwback weekend, that was it last year, the year before they made it the throwback. Officially, they made it the throwback weekend. I'm not sure, but it makes
I think it was 2 years ago. I think you're right, Bob.
Yeah, so 2 years ago they officially made it the throwback weekend. It's awesome, and all the teams play into it. It makes it a really interesting and race to watch, especially with Blaney growing his hair out, people growing mustaches, and it's good fun.
And racing is a professional business. It is a living. A lot of us wish we could, but for the people who have that opportunity, it's awesome to see them, like you said, replicating it. Eric Almirola one year, he grew a giant mustache out when he was driving for the King Richard Petty, and a Richard Petty throwback and car. It's very cool to see whose imagination reigns best. And it looks like Noco is coming up on that 11 Dale Waltrip car, past him on the inside. Bob.
Yep. I don't know if he's first putting him a lap down or if they're trying to catch up to Smitty, because I do see Smitty up ahead.
Go with the flip. Dale Waltrip seems going to the pits right now in the 11 as I watch him. Go back to you, Bob.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure who's first. I don't know if they're trying to, if Noco, Buck, and OG are trying to catch up to RJ for first. But regardless, that battle, those three cars, the 1, the 6-2, and the 19, are all battling it out. It's a great battle to watch.
For everybody out there who is sending me messages, please pay attention and dial in tonight to the Giggity Racing Broadcast League. I would love nothing more to race with you, and you know I will. Fat Pats, Captain Jack, 24, please pay attention and dial into the Giggity Broadcast League. Louis MC, 118, please listen to the Giggity Race League, as we call this. I'll be one happy to race with you guys. And here's again, let's bring this back up. You guys, I've raced with all of you guys numerous times. You guys have great skill like the racers of the Giggity Racing League. Take a chance. Go into that developmental league. One of my good friends who I recommended, Warp, he only raced one and got picked up by a truck. Come in, listen to the broadcast, watch the race, and then come see where your skill level is at with these great drivers. They're always looking for more drivers. I know you're looking for more competition, right, Bob?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Noco's also looking for new people to join the team, add some depth to the team, whether it be truck drivers, Xfinity drivers. We got a good core of Cup guys, we got a good core of Xfinity guys, but we could always accept more people.
So, no offense to everybody that is sending me invites right now. I'll have more, excuse me. I have nothing but love for you all, but join in, listen to broadcast, and come join the Developmental League. Bob would love to put a hurting on you.
And we do have some people commenting. One of the person that I used to race with, Brian Mosser, commented, said this is his home track. Very important track to him. Shout out to you. And Robbie has commented and wanted to let you know that he's here.
Hey, Robbie, I miss you, buddy. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even have had Heat 3, let alone Heat 4. Everybody out there listening, we all love our English buddy over there. He is a great guy, a great racer, and a great person around.
And
so
the
thanks
62
for coming in,
and the
Robbie.
one-make contact coming out of turn 3
Noco
and collect the 2 and the 14.
I just got confirmation that Fat Patch is in. One of my good friends, he's in for the Developmental League, and it looks like we're either got under caution or coming to a stage.
I believe we came under caution from that little altercation right there. Looks like they got into each other coming off the corner and collected some other people. The 19.
Congratulations to Fat Paps for making it, or participating with the Giggity Racing League in the development there. T. Clay also, great to have you in with the Development League. A couple of my good friends, Stage 2, and it looks like RJ Spitty is number 1. Noco is number 2 for stage 2. K. Larson, Sphincter, OG, Thenu is your top 5. K. Mac 19. Checkmate Taylor, K. Taddy in 8th. Mills in 9th. And Buck in 10th. I just got the update from Taddy as on a message.
And on the restart here, I don't know if the 62 forgot to pit or what happened, but he dove it down to the inside here on the restart. And it looks like
it could be a strategy thing going into turn 1. It could be like at a road course. Do you want to be the bowling pin or do you want to be the bowling bull? Step back. You know, you never know what's going to happen at some of these first corners when you're going 3-4 wide deep.
I was about to say the 21 took it to the lead, but he kind of got shuffled back as they were going through. And, ooh, the 37's down into the retainer ball. And I believe we're staying green. Oh, 12's around. 12's around collected the 43, and 43's inside wall. Who else? And we're still under green here. 24 is your leader, followed by the 14 and the 19.
I just got confirmation that another one of my good buddies, T-Clay and Speedy 1090, are also in the Development League. Great to have you guys aboard. It really is. You guys will make a great addition to any portion of the Giggity Racing League. You all have great talent as much as these guys. Thanks, Robbie, for your update.
And the 14 pulled in the second here. He goes a little high going through the tunnel turn. Loses him a spot to the 19. The 19 was all over his bumper, so maybe a little bit of a strategy call, not wanting to use your stuff up super early. Just let him by, fall in line, and get him when it's your turn.
Kind of following Noco. He fell back, I don't know if it was because he had a speeding penalty, which I don't think that was the case. Maybe it was something in the pits. But seeing that he's a couple cars back, seeing how he plays through, he's very smooth. He follows cars through the corners, sees where they make their mistakes, and he pounces on us. He goes down the front stretch, passing the number 9 car. And right there, he's coming up on the back of the number 8. Noco, once again, folks, is one of your top contenders to keep an eye on, whether it be from the back of the pack or the front of the pack. If you are leading this race, I would shut that mirror off and put the old loud skinny pedal hammer down and try to get away from that beautiful number 1.
Yeah, with that being said, you know, Noco, he kind of fell back a little bit on that restart there. I didn't see if he started on the outside there on the restart, but with him being back there, you know, kind of a battle of your own up front. If you're nervous about Noco being faster than you, this is your time to shine, you know. Get some ground on him. Make him work to catch you.
He has the talent to do it. You know he has a car.
As the race goes on, this 24 car is proving to be one of the front runners here. He's proven strong. He's not really pulling away necessarily, but he's keeping his ground. He's not losing his spot. 14 and the 19 keeps swapping back and forth. Might give him an opportunity to pull away a little bit.
And once again, thanks to our English buddy, Robbie Zids. Please, first and foremost, next time they have a charity race for Robbie Zids. Second and foremost, he is over here keeping me up to date with all the people that he personally come join the Giggity Racing Developmental League. Thank you, Don Buck. Don Buck is a fellow Ohioan. He's from Cleveland. Whoop, the Browns won today. Yep, my Bengals lost. No surprise there. But welcome Don Buck to the Developmental League of the Giggity Racing tutorial here. This is awesome to see so many of the people that I know very well and race with come put their caliber driving up against your guys' high caliber driving. How long did it take for you to personally get bumped from developmental to truck to Xfinity to even get a hot seat, Bob?
I was fortunate enough to come in, and originally I was going to get put into the truck series. And then I was speaking with Noco, who was my team owner at the time, well, still is, and I explained to him, you know, I'm not new to this. I feel like I have a lot I can bring to the team. And he wanted me to prove it to him, you know, so we did a couple practices, and I showed I had that raw speed. But so he put me in a cup car for a, wouldn't call it a hot seat, but it was at the time when we were doing the qualifying races where if you weren't in the top 16, you didn't get into the race. Like the heat races where the top 3 Oh yeah, so sorry about that. I went back on my statement. The top 3 people in the heat race got into the main race. And he liked what he saw, and I got into a couple races, and ultimately it kept me in the Cup Series for a little bit, but I had some lag issues, and that put me down in the Xfinity Series. But it's, you just show what you got. You show you're clean. You don't even have to be fast. As long as you're clean and you're enjoyable to race around, you'll get moved up fast.
That's awesome to hear. A lot of the Robbie vids recommended tonight, I have personally raced with quite a few times. We race almost every day together. Plus, we race Wednesday night for not necessarily points, but for bragging rights. We'll call it that. And it's awesome that you said that. It's so much fun when you can get into a lobby of nothing but clean drivers. But then you join a public lobby, and it takes one, we're on the air, I'll put it like this, schmuck, to ruin it for everybody. I have personally became a little biased. I've also been a little pampered to the fact that I have so many good friends around the world, not United States, but around the world, who participate in this great game that I can hang out with, enjoy a good race. A couple good jokes, you bump every now and then for fun, but when it comes down to plaques, bronze, air medals, it's balls to the walls. Everybody's clean to do it.
Yeah, definitely. It makes the league a lot more enjoyable. Having those guys that you can depend on, they're clean. They're not going to do anything to, ruin your race or their race even. You got some people that their emotions take them over, and, you get a little upset. But with the people you've been racing around with a while, for a long time, it just makes it a lot more enjoyable. And,
now,
we
this
started
word
out
could be used quite a bit, Bob, and it's trust, whether it be with your personal girlfriend or people you've never met before. But once you establish a rapport and a relationship, you can trust how you can race and how they can race around you, and that's what makes league racing like this even better. Noko, for example, if Noko was coming up on my 6, I definitely would trust to know that he would pass me clean and not door me. As an example.
And we did have a lead change here. The 24 got into the wall coming out of turn 1, and the 19 took advantage of that. And now he's got a sizable gap to the 14 in second place.
And Dombuck in that 6-2, he's looking very fast and looking very consistent also. We got that beautiful Hooters number 9. He's back there too. Can't forget about Mills in that number 2. Can't forget about number 19 OG. Again, so many drivers that have run up front. RKM Giggity in that 12 car. He wants a shot tonight. And don't forget, please tune into this. I hope that I've had such a great time commentating with you tonight, Bob. But we do have one more race after this. And let me tell you what, folks. You want to talk about a barn burner? Road courses. That's the black noodle in the spaghetti right there. That's the one. Road courses make a lot of people nervous. I hope to call that race with you tonight or a little bit later.
Yeah, road courses, it's a whole different animal, From league racing wise, I was fortunate enough to get in with the PRL doing some GT3 and GTE racing, so road racing isn't exactly that new to me. But switching over from a sports car like that into a stock car, it's drastically different. These cars handle a lot more different than a sports car, obviously. And
with
putting
the
them on, with the weight and everything like that, and putting them, these cars that love to turn left, and they're made to turn left, onto a place where you have to turn left and right, and go uphill,
we got the
downhill,
37 into Mills. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Big car accident. As I follow the 37 to Trout, I did not mean to cut you off. I just so happened to flip over and watch that. 37 into Mills. Sorry, Bob. Go ahead. Caution flags. Caution flags out. We got a dandelion on the track.
Yeah, it looks like the 62 kind of got involved with that as well. At the end, kind of rear-ended the 2. I don't know if that was after the caution flew and the AI ran into one another.
Now, I'm going to be a little bit biased here again, if you all haven't figured out. But being from Columbus, Ohio, Mansfield, Ohio, that's where Lexington, Ohio is, and that's where this beautiful road course called Mid-Ohio is. I have had the fortunate opportunity to personally race a GP50 bike there twice, and I have done over 100 laps there on motorcycles and cars on just regular track days in my personal vehicles. Mid-Ohio is one of my favorite road courses, and when it comes to road courses personally, I enjoy them. I love them.
Yeah, I'm a little more biased to the. I've never really ran Mid Ohio a lot. I've ran it a couple times in the last iteration of this game with the Xfinity cars. I've ran my fair share of Canadian Tire, but I would say my favorite's probably Watkins Glen. Um, I
Everybody loves the Glen. That's one of my personal favorites too, Bob.
Yep, and Sonoma was my favorite until they went and changed the layout. I'm not opposed to them changing the layout. I think it makes it really awesome. You know, ooh, we do have a little
Three
beating and
wide
banging
door to
going on
door
back
there.
there.
Oh,
Ooh, 42's in the
oh,
wall.
oh, 42 hard into the wall. I didn't mean to interrupt your story there. Just big incident right there. But again, being from Ohio, there's just something about it. Ohio is known for their dirt tracks for motorcycle. We have many great pavement tracks. We have many great dirt tracks. Um, Mid Ohio is one of those tracks, and being so close, every opportunity I had, I'm not saying I was great in person at it, but there's just something about it. And this is a standing joke between all my friends who are listening. Everybody out there, I raced my motorcycle at Mid Ohio. That's a standing joke. We'll get that out of the way, Bob. That was a bit. We're going to go back to a caution flag here. Let's go get four freshies. Make that adjustment again.
Yeah, definitely. This track does use up some tires, so 4 tires definitely every single time you come down, unless it comes down to, last couple laps. Maybe there's 6 laps to go when the caution comes out, and you got like 3 or 2 laps left when the green flag waves. Maybe you can take that chance to take 2 tires if you're confident enough with the car, but every time I'm coming down pit road here, I'm definitely putting on 4 fresh Goodyears.
And it looks like we got a brand new contender up here in the front in that 24, the Sphincter car, man. He is looking good. He's looking strong. Little strategy here to prove his dominance, too. He's up there in that Mustang. Noco's right there. We got the 20 of K-Taddy on the inside. 3 wide with RJ Smitty. Oh, Noco touches the wall. We got great racing, Bob.
Oh yeah, it's definitely heating up here, getting closer to the end of the race. People are starting to feel a sense of urgency. They need to get up there, need to make something happen. That 21 car was up there the last restart we had before this one, and looks like we had a little bit of a lag.
Big Rick, RJ Smitty. Oh, that just took out at least 8 cars that I could see that were involved in that, Bob. That was too many for me to count as I'm clicking through. I apologize.
Yeah, looks like we got the 9 of Checkmate was involved, the 20 of Taddy, obviously. The 11 looks like he has some damage, a flow. A lot of cars taken up into that wreck right there. Might benefit some people who just...
Unfortunately, though, that is very, very a sad situation to see. But the benefactor of this, stages, cautions, and damage. Yes, they all occurred some damages, but we're in a stage. We're under a caution. You got plenty of time. Take a deep breath. Take a drink of water. Go make your adjustments. You're not out of this.
Yeah, definitely not out of it. It's not over to the fat lady sings, as they say, but we're getting closer to the end of the race, It's not over till it's over. You gotta put yourself in a position to win at the end of the race, Taking every little inch here, track position matters here. It's kind of hard to pass, but you can't be overly aggressive.
Sometimes overly aggressive will help you, but early right now, I agree. Right now is the time to be cautious. Get yourself right. You got plenty of time. When you got less than 10 to go, how do I put this politely since we're on the air, Bob? That's when the fecal matter hits the sky. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm getting it.
I'm trying to be politically correct for you all out there. Anyways, let's go back to this. We got K-Taddy, we got Noco. They're back here in the middle. They're working their way back up. There's that beautiful 11 of that Darrell Waltrip car. Don Buck is laughing. He's having a great time. He said, "Deuces, I am throwing you a cranberry and turkey sandwich out the window. I am gone." Bob, what are you seeing?
Yeah, that 62 is happy. His biggest competitors back there are kind of trying to work their way back up through the pack. We got some new cars up front that are kind of sticking with it a little bit. The 37, the 21's probably happy that he's got. Well, it looks like Noco's kind of breathing down his neck now, but it's coming down to be great. Oh, and the 1 car goes around with contact from the 12.
Noco is going around on the backstretch. That is a very, very uncharacteristic circumstance. And we still don't see a ding lane. We see no caution out there. They're still green. As you know, if you listened, especially with Blakey T and I, Bob, we always like to make a dark horse, pick. He just got cut up in this, but I'm not going to change my dark horse yet because there still could be a caution. But my dark horse is going to go with Bills. I talked with him quite a few times. I've announced with him. But after watching him tonight, he's been patient. He's been clean. If you had a dark horse winner, who would it be, Bob?
Not to be kind of biased, but I might say the 37 of Trout. You know, he's been involved in a bunch of wrecks so far, but he's sticking with it. He's kind of proven right now. He's up in that front pack, fighting for second, trying to chase down the lead car. But he seems like he's got some speed. He's got some promise. So I guess he'd be my dark horse pick of this race.
Unfortunately, if I have to say it like this, this is one thing. I know it's a video game, but I wish things would be a little bit different because that definitely should have been a caution. That definitely possibly threw Nuko out of this unless there's another caution. As we watch Mills take a 3-4 wide coming out of turn 3. I just got a message from our good friend over in England, Robbie Zids. Robbie Zids, he's got a dark horse. He's saying, go Wicked. So there we go. We got a little bit of a third party from overseas over the pond over there, Bob. And there's the caution appears to be.
At the end of that last frame right there before it changed, it looked like the 43 might have gotten into the wall.
That's the benefit that Noko needed.
Yeah, Noko was praying for that caution to come out. Really unfortunate. And I received word that the 43 got bumper hooked coming off and it sent him around.
Do you think we're going to see a post-race confrontation with that situation?
Hopefully not.
Well, here's your chance. They get 4 fresh Goodyears, and they can make that final, last-ditch effort. We could have a caution. We could. We could not. We could go green, and you had to make a green pit stop. What adjustments are you going to make? Let's see who pans out. That was a definitely benefit for Mr. Noko, though.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Noko is probably super happy right now. He's in the back of the pack here. He's going to have to work his way back through, but it's something that we've seen him do this whole race. You know, he gets set back a little bit. He slowly works his way up to the front of the pack, and he's always there. So no big surprise for him to be back there. He's going to work his way up.
Noko must be a hunter. He stalks his prey, he watches his prey, and when the time is right, he pounces on that prey. And once again, Noko's in it. Then we got the number 20 of K-Taddy. Oh, the number 2 of Mills. That's my dark horse. We have another big caution back here. Tempers are going to start flaring a little bit if we don't be careful here, gentlemen. But again, race is coming to an end. Stage points are a virtue. Top 5s are great, and everybody wants that win, Bob.
Yeah, definitely. The tempers are going to be flaring here, getting towards the end. You know, trying to take every inch, getting closer to the end of the race, and you're gonna take some people off, trying to make that move. It looks like, believe it or not, I think the 19 is on pit road, ghosted out. I don't know if he lagged out or what happened, or if he's in the pits. But that would be a big disadvantage to him with the points and not being able to finish the race. He was one of the faster cars. He was giving Noko a run for his money up there, along with the 24. So that could give somebody else, possibly, maybe one of the dark horse picks of the race, a better chance to win here.
Do you have the broadcast pulled up? Again, let's see what all of our fans out there who are listening to the Giggity Racing League slider race at Pocono 50% race, let's see what they have to say. Is there anybody out there who has a dark horse pick for this?
I had Jake send me a message. He said he had a dark horse pick. His was Taddy.
Oh, that's a great choice. One of the ambassadors, one of the, not ambassadors, administrators. He's been looking good too. Great choice, Jake.
And the 37 had a little bit of problems going on, and he made it back up to 4th place there.
I feel if they could make it 2 or 3 laps, that's all Noko needs. He needs no cautions, green flag laps, and he can work his way back up.
Yep.
But look who's back up front in that green and yellow, Bob.
Yeah, so me being, if I was in Smitty's spot right now. I'd be happy if the cautions kept coming out. He's really good on restarts. He's restarting on the inside every time. He's in first place. As long as he protects his spot from the 62, who's also been really strong tonight. As
As
I
the
say that, the
62
62
butt
dives
goes
down.
underneath him.
And
here's Taddy. There's Taddy. There's the 14. Look at this. We have a battle shaping up, Bob.
Yeah, the 14 car is getting better and better as the race goes on. He's up there now. He's proven he can run with the big dogs up there. And the 37 as well. Kind of forcing the issue, going down on the below the yellow line right there. Kind of make a little bit of contact. They're coming out unscathed. It looks like it's going to be a good battle.
Oh, big hard wreck for the number 9, and I can't see it in the background. Is that the number 8 of the orange and black car? There is 2. Just right there. That looked like it was a big hard wreck. Yeah, no, that was the number 2 of Mills back there. It appears. That's not a good situation for him.
You have to. Ooh, and it looks like we have another incident. Back in the pack. The 43 is around, and the 20 is around.
Oh, that's Taddy. That's unfortunate. And yeah, there we go. There's the Dane line. We got the yellow flag coming out there. There's the old sunflower pulling out, slowing everybody down. Good race, Again, we're cutting down on laps. You know you're going to be bunched up. Make your adjustments. Get them tires. I think we should be good on fuel, but go in, get yourself right. I mean, that's what I would do. What about you, Bob?
For me, I would just, get those tires on there. Track position here really matters. You got to come to a conclusion, Do I want the tires? If this is going to go caution-free till the end, I'm going to want those tires. But it's really, you got to go with your gut, Seeing how racy it's getting at the end here, I would probably take a chance. If it's closer to the end of the race, I'd probably take 2 tires and pick track position over. Oh, it looks like that was the end of the race. And your winner was the 24.
Yeah. Oh, was that the end of the race again? Unfortunately, folks, I'm sorry, I don't have a computer in front of me. So it does Jay Smitty. Jay Smitty coming out with the lead right there. I just got a message from Taddy. 8:30 Canadian. You can end the broadcast. So that'll be all for us tonight at the Pocono. We will be right back, not at a very short time here, in about 15 minutes. Bob, I hope to join you again, man. It was great talking with you, man. It was great watching you race, too, but it was even better to hang out with you.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome. I really enjoyed myself. Yeah, we'll be back for Canadian Tire.
Awesome. If you got your computer pulled up, or if you got a broadcast pulled up, can you give everybody a rundown?
Okay. Let me, I'll pull it up on my phone right here.
Jay Smitty with the lead. That's an unfortunate circumstance. Again, I apologize, folks, for not being the best broadcaster. I don't have a computer right in front of me. My wife uses it for work. Otherwise, I'd be able to help out when I can. But that's why things seem to be getting tense and strong there towards the end, Bob.
Hold on, sorry about that. 1 second. Just trying to...
And if you're friends with whoever finished in the top 3, if you'd like to pull them in, let's